The MLB season is currently in the home stretch, getting ready for that playoff run for all these teams. The trade deadline has passed, and all these teams have their final roster ready to go for the home stretch of the MLB season. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking every single team based on how I see the rest of their season going, and who is the top of the top and who is at the bottom of the barrel of the MLB so far this season. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, as I'm bringing out baseball content every single day, and hit that like button and comment your thoughts on your favorite team's season so far this year and where they should be in this tier ranking. Getting right into it, the tiers we have are World Series contenders, strong playoff teams, weak playoff teams, meh/who really cares about you guys, and bottom of the barrel. Start looking ahead to 2027 and maybe 2028 if there's no season next year. Let's get right on into it. We're starting with the Arizona Diamondbacks, a very interesting team this season, as they currently hold the second wildcard spot in the NL, tied with the Phillies, and I think they fit right into that weak playoff team. I don't know if they're going to make it in, as the last wildcard spot in the NL is kind of up for grabs with many other teams. But they have been playing very good baseball as of late. 7 games over 500, currently hold that spot. And I think if they make it into the playoffs, no one's really scared of them, and they're a weak playoff team. They don't have the pitching staff to go on a deep run. And this team, so far to me, does not really interest me in going on a deep run. Next, a very interesting team. A team that I thought should have went bigger at the deadline and did not do that. And that's why I'm putting the Braves in strong playoff team. I don't think they're a World Series contender. Their starting rotation is not good enough for me to believe they have what it takes to win the World Series. Chris Sale, and then who else? Ronaldo Lopez, Martin Perez, Spencer Strider. Like, who's going to be the guy who starts Game 2, Game 3 after Chris Sale? Chris Sale's health is always a question. So I just really don't believe in this Braves team to be a World Series contender, in my opinion. In my previous video, I had them losing in the NLDS, but they could maybe sneak out of there. I don't know. This offense can carry the load, but this pitching staff is just not good enough to go on a deep postseason run, in my humble opinion. Next, a team that sold at the deadline, the Baltimore Orioles. I'm going to put them in the meh/who really cares category. This is kind of for the teams that are just in the middle of the pack, not completely out of it, but not really going for it. The Orioles are somehow like 5 games under 500, but only a game and a half out of a wildcard spot. It's really crazy. They sold at the deadline. I don't think they really care to make the playoffs this year. It would just be a nice luxury if they did. They sold Rutschman. They sold Taylor Ward. This team has just been so inconsistent all year. I don't see a world where they get hot and go and make the playoffs. That's why I'm putting them in this tier. Next up, the absolute hottest team in baseball, and it's not even close. My favorite team, the Boston Red Sox. They had a very interesting trade deadline, pushing some chips in, getting Adley Rutschman, getting Eric Miller to help out that bullpen. If they can get healthy, I fully believe they're a World Series contender. Name another team who is 30-5 in their last 35, and you would say they're a World Series contender as well. This team is firing on all cylinders. If they can keep this up heading into October, they're the team to beat in the AL, in my opinion, right now. They have the best starting rotation in the game, but best bullpen in the game, and this offense is starting to hit home runs and fire on all cylinders. They play the small ball when they need to, and they have the big hits when they need to as well. Getting Adley Rutschman, Garrett Crochet, and Roman Anthony potentially for this final stretch is going to be huge for them. This offense will look completely different with Roman and Adley in that lineup, and I think they have what it takes to go on a deep playoff run and represent the AL in the World Series and hopefully win it all for the first time since 2018. This Red Sox team is a force to be reckoned with at the moment, and I don't see a world where they slow down. Next, the Chicago Cubs. They had a great deadline as well, in my opinion, bolstering that bullpen and bolstering that starting rotation with Kevin Gausman and Clay Holmes. I think they're better than the Braves, and I think they could be a World Series contender in the NL. The NL is going to be dominated by the Dodgers, but I believe the Cubs are one of the teams that could potentially take them down. They have the offense to do it, and that starting rotation has gotten some reinforcements. The Cubs just swept the Dodgers their past series, So the Dodgers are showing some weaknesses, and if the Cubs can capitalize that on a playoff series, it'd be better to get them in maybe a shorter game series like the ALDS instead of ALCS or the NLCS, because the Cubs, their offense can click for a couple games. They can beat anyone, including the Dodgers. And they've shown that this past series, sweeping them. And the Dodgers have lost 6 straight. Maybe is this a sign to come where their weaknesses are being shown and teams are going to capitalize on that in the playoffs? Who knows? But I think the Cubs, while I don't have them as my pick to represent the NL, I think they have what it takes to potentially pull it off. Next, the White Sox. I'm putting them in a strong playoff team. I mean, I don't think they have what it takes to make the World Series, as they have many weaknesses. They're young, they're inexperienced, they don't have the pitching. But as the bracket has shown right now, they could easily make the ALCS. They could have a first-round bye, and they would play either the Astros or this third wildcard team in the AL, as the Red Sox, the Rays, and the Yankees are all in one separate bracket for the AL, and the White Sox, the Astros, and the third wildcard team are in the other side of the bracket. So as it really plays out, in my opinion, the top 3 teams in the AL are all on one side, and the bottom 3 playoff teams are on the other side. So anyone could come into the ALCS for the AL, and I think easily the White Sox could do it, but I don't see them getting by that whatsoever. But they've had such a great story. If their offense can get clicking in a playoff series, hit some home runs with Miguel Vargas, Murakami, Colson Montgomery, you name it, they can really beat anyone if they get hot. But I don't think the pitching staff has what it takes, and they're a little bit too young. Next, the Reds. I'm just going to put them in bottom of the barrel, even though no one cares about them. I just hate what they did at the deadline. They didn't sell hard. They didn't sell Brady Singer, Spencer Steer, JJ Bleday, players like that. And they're just fine with being less than mediocre, I guess, for the rest of the year. And I don't really want to talk about them because they just have nothing exciting going on for them. Even Hunter Green just went on the IL. Guardians, I think they're probably the definition of a weak playoff team if they somehow sneak in. Right now they're tied for that third wildcard spot with the Rangers, and they're below 500. Whoever is going to get that third wildcard spot in the AL, it's just a freaking joke. Like, they're not going to be over 500 maybe. Most likely they'll be like 83 wins, and that's just a joke. Embarrassing for the AL, embarrassing for the MLB, allowing these teams to get in. And then they'll have an easier matchup than either the Yankees or the Red Sox as they get to face the worst division winner. Like, I feel like the MLB should just reseed when it gets to the playoffs at this point, because it's really showing its flaws. But the Guardians, they have a great pitching staff. If they could get in, they could maybe win a series with that pitching staff of Gavin Williams, Foster Griffin, and Parker Messick heading at the helm of that rotation for a 3-game set. So I wouldn't be surprised if they win a playoff series, but they're just a weak playoff team, even if they get in. Rockies, bottom of the barrel for a while now. I mean, what else is there to say? Sorry, Rocky fans, if there are even any Rocky fans out there. I'm sorry you have to deal with this. Hopefully, brighter things ahead in the future. Tigers, man, who really cares at this point? They traded Skubal, they traded Casey Mize. Their offense is the only thing that could keep them afloat, but that pitching staff just took a major hit. Who really cares about them? Maybe they get some of their prospects up to like a Max Clark to have a strong start, show some promise going into next year, because I think next year, if they make some moves, get some more pitching in the offseason, they could be back in the playoffs as soon as next year. I wouldn't really be surprised. Astros, I'm actually going to put them in strong playoff team because just like the White Sox, I think they can make the ALCS because they have an easier side of the bracket at this point. So if they could just win a playoff series, that's really what a strong playoff team does. If you're not a World Series contender, just win like a playoff series. And I think the Astros have a fair chance of winning that wild card series. They don't have the pitching, though, in my opinion, to be World Series contender. They only have like Hunter Brown, and then who else is really after him? It's a big question mark. But they do have probably the best hitter in the league this year, Yordan Alvarez, and he could help them win a playoff series or two maybe to get into that strong playoff team category. I think my last video I had them in the hunt or third wildcard team, but they've jumped that. They're probably going to win the AL West pretty easily right now, as the Rangers and Mariners have struggled all year round. And the Astros are getting hot at the right time. They added Dalton Varsho to help out in that outfield. And I think that's going to be a pretty good addition for them. and help them be a strong playoff team and win a playoff series. Next, Royals, bottom of the barrel. They've been bottom of the barrel the whole year. People had expectations for this Royals team this year, and they have just failed at all cylinders. Hopefully they don't waste Bobby Witt's prime, because he is one of the best and most exhilarating players in the whole league. He's absolutely electric, flies around the bases. But as of this year, they're bottom of the barrel. Hopefully they can get Bobby Witt some help in the offseason and get back into that playoff hunt next year. Angels, another bottom of the barrel team. Who cares about the Angels? Can they just relocate? Get a new city. We don't need another team in LA. They're always gonna be the Dodgers' little bro. And the Angels, they just need to find a direction. I don't see them being good for at least another 5 years. And it doesn't really matter because there's no Angels fans anyway. They're all Dodgers fans. So the Angels need a rebrand or something at this point. Next, Dodgers, World Series contender. Who are we kidding? One of the best teams in baseball. Best teams of all time, maybe roster-wise. I mean, this team's ridiculous. They can bring Mookie Betts off the bench, Kyle Tucker off the bench anytime they want. And they have the best rotation, best pitching staff in baseball with Skubal now. It would be a real shame for them, honestly, if they don't win the World Series. It's World Series or bust for them. And the whole MLB fan bases are rooting against them, and it's going to be a show in the playoffs. It's kind of fun this year. We just have an absolute villain to root against. And I think that creates some good drama for the league, and it's honestly not that bad. Next, the Marlins. I really want to put them in that weak playoff team, but I don't think they have what it takes to make it. But I feel like they're better than a meh. Who really cares? But at this point, that's what it's going to be. They're going to be around 500, not make the playoffs, and hopefully they can be back next year, because I think this team has a bright future. They have guys like Stowers, Otto Lopez, Xavier Edwards, Yuri Perez. They kept Sandy. Max Meyer is broken out, and I feel like they have some great pieces going into the future. They can spend a little money, maybe. It's probably not going to happen in the offseason to help bolster that team for next year. Brewers coming up next. I mean, World Series contender. I love the way the Brewers play. They play the game the right way, but I just wish they could have went all in at this deadline, pushed their chips in, but they didn't. They're just satisfied with what they're doing right now, and I honestly can't blame them. If my team was winning 90-plus games every year, winning their division every year, I wouldn't really change a thing, because they're a small market team. They're not spending much money, so if it ain't broke, don't really fix it. Let's hope they can do better than they did in the playoffs last year, not get swept by the Dodgers, and maybe take them down. Next, the Twins. I don't think they can make it in. This team on paper is not good, so I don't really care about them. Even if they make the playoffs, who are they potentially scaring? I don't think they scare anybody. I don't think they would have a chance in a playoff series. That's why they're going in the meh, who really cares category. But I do respect them for buying at the deadline, bolstering that bullpen with A.J. Minter and Jeff Hoffman. Why not? Just go for it. They might not be baseball next year. So put your balls to the wall and go for it. I respect it, but I don't think it's going to pay off. The Mets, probably the most funny bottom of the barrel team, paying guys $700 million just to miss the playoffs and be one of the worst teams in the league. I really wonder what the Mets are going to do in this offseason, because, could they trade Lindor? What is that infield going to look like? Is it going to be Polanco, Simeon, Bichette, and Lindor again? Because that was one of the worst things they could have possibly done this year, and it did not work out. Really backfired on them. And, yeah, the Mets, I don't know what their future looks like, but it's going to be interesting to see what David Cohen does. Next, the Yankees. Yankees fans, do not come after me in the comments. Actually, come after me in the comments, because this team is not a World Series contender. I honestly didn't like their deadline that much. I feel like their biggest needs were catcher and bullpen, and they did nothing to address that. They still have Austin Wells behind the plate, being an everyday player, and their bullpen doesn't really scare me at all. Dave Bednar, Brent Hedrick is not proven. They don't have many righties who can be like a flamethrower out there. And they got rid of Camilo Doval. I'm not scared of their bullpen, and I don't think their bullpen has what it takes to be an October monster and be a World Series contender. I think they're going to lose in the wild card series to the Red Sox, and even if they do win that series, I don't see them making the ALCS or even getting close to the World Series. That's why I have them in strong playoff team. I don't think Luis Garcia, even though he is a great player, I don't know how he fits in that Yankees lineup. They have Ben Rice, they have Goldschmidt, they have Stanton if he comes back to DH. So it's going to be interesting where they play him and see where that playing time goes. So the Yankees, strong playoff team for me because they're just better than most of the teams in the AL, but I don't think they're better than the Red Sox and another team I'm going to talk about who can be a World Series contender in the AL. Next, the A's, bottom of the barrel, self-explanatory, one of the worst teams in baseball yet again. I thought the A's were going to be surprising this year, but no, they were not. They need to get some pitching somehow when they move to Vegas. Hopefully that helps their pitching staff not playing in a Mickey Mouse ballpark. But as of now, this team is not good enough. Phillies, they're a strong playoff team as well. The NL just has so many strong teams, so you can't really put them all in World Series contender. I think the Phillies are a step below the Cubs, Brewers, and the Dodgers, so that's why they're going a strong playoff team. It's going to be hard for them to even make it out of the wild card series because they're probably going to have to face either the Cubs, the Braves, maybe some team like that. And let's see if they can win a playoff series. I don't know, but they're better than a weak playoff team, so that's why they're going strong playoff team. The Pirates, oh man, I love the Pirates deadline, but they're just not playing well right now. They bolstered that bullpen, but what the heck has happened to Paul Skeens, man? His ERA is like the mid threes. This guy was a perennial Cy Young the past 2 years. It really sucks to see because I want this Pirates team to be a playoff team. This fan base deserves it, but right now they're under 500. They're like 4 games back. I don't see a way where they even make it in. So I guess, who really cares about them? But deep down in my heart, I care about them. So shout out to you, Pirates fans. Next, the Padres. I think they have what it takes. It's going to be either them or the Diamondbacks for that last wild card spot in the NL. But even if they get in, they're a weak playoff team. They don't have really the high-end pitching to win a playoff series, and their offense is really inconsistent. So who knows? But I do think they will pass the Diamondbacks because they had a better deadline, and they're like 2 games behind them. So they can just string together a good week or two. They'll pass the Diamondbacks. Next up, Giants. I was so high on the Giants this year, and man, was I wrong. Bottom of the barrel team yet again. They've fallen off a table this year. Have what it takes right now to be a great team. With high contracts with Chapman, Adames, and Devers, they don't have much flexibility either. They're probably going to in the off season, but yeah, bottom of the barrel team in my opinion. Mariners. What the hell has happened to the Mariners? They're going in the who really cares tier. I don't think they can make the playoffs. Even though this team is better than most of the teams in the AL ahead of them, they're playing one of the worst brands of baseball this whole season. But if they do sneak into the playoffs somehow, just watch out. That pitching staff can do it. I mean, they were 1 game away from the World Series this year. Them and the Blue Jays were the ALCS teams last year, and look at where they are now. I mean, I guess they were just satisfied with that big-time hangover, and they're going in at the top of the who really cares tier. Cardinals, they are going to be joining the Mariners in that tier. Cardinals had a hot start to the year, but they have fallen off. They're a couple games under 500, about 4 games out of a playoff spot, and they don't scare anyone. But shout out to them. They just won a series against the Yankees. The Boston Red Sox only game behind the Yankees. Cam Schlittler, watch your words, pal. We are coming for you. Yep, shout out to the Cardinals, but who really cares about them for the last month and a half of this season? Rays, the only other World Series contender in the AL, in my opinion. The best team in the AL, and they have been the whole year, and I don't see them slowing down at all. Freddie Peralta did not have a great debut, but who knows? The Rays just find a way to win at all costs and at all times. So the Rays, I would not be surprised if they make the World Series. But this team is just, they play the game the right way, and they're going to find a way to do it and get it done. Next up, the Rangers. Right now they're tied for the 3rd wildcard team, so I guess I just have to put them in a weak playoff team. I hated their deadline. They didn't do anything. They could have sold. They had a lot of pieces to sell. They could have bought. I mean, this team on paper is not that bad. They have some good pitching. But staying pat at the deadline, really, it's probably the worst thing they could have done. But Rangers, if they sneak in, they're not doing anything. This offense is not good. Maybe Jacob DeGrom can win them one game in a wild card series, but not two. So that's why Rangers are a weak playoff team. Blue Jays, they're going bottom of the barrel, man. Even though they're somehow like 3 games out of the playoff spot, it's just ridiculous. This AL third wild card spot is so bad. These teams are under 500 and they're still in it, but I don't think the Blue Jays have what it takes. They kind of sold at deadline with Gosman and Varsho and Hoffman. But I did like the acquisition of Jose Soriano, kind of like a buy-sell and help for the future. But I don't think the Blue Jays are going to make it in. Same with the Nationals, but the Nationals, I like them better than the Blue Jays because they have James Wood, C.J. Abrams, our must-watch baseball every day. But the Nationals are also similar to the Cardinals. They were in it right there, and then they sold at the deadline, and now they're out of it. So who really cares about them? That's going to do it for my list. Let me know down in the comments what your opinions on this list. Which team's too high? Which team's too low? Which team might surprise you in the playoffs? And that's going to do it for today's video. Hit that subscribe button down below and keep sharing this content with friends, with your grandma, with whoever. And hit that like button to help me out with this algorithm and this thing we call YouTube.